Okay, everybody. So I'm going to make these videos to talk about the homework. Okay. So I'm going to do this a little bit old school here. Unfortunately, it doesn't, MindTap doesn't let you like print out the homework. So otherwise I would have like scanned it and tried to do something, but I'm going to do this a little bit old school here. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about this. Obviously, I know you can see the answer, but sometimes, the answer is not going to be as helpful. The understanding of it's not going to be as helpful as me talking about it. So let's start with number one. And keep in mind, I did not make these. I'm not. I've looked at them all, I've reviewed them all, but in some sense, I think it's exciting if I'm doing it at the same time as you're seeing it being done. That way you can kind of witness what my thinking process is as well. Okay. Well, I didn't really answer this, but I guess it marked it wrong because I didn't answer it. Okay, so let's see here. You work as an assistant coach on a university basketball team and earn $15 an hour. And one day you decide to skip the hour-long practice and go to a movie theater or carnival instead. And admission is $9. Okay, so again, your exact question might be a little bit different, but it's not going to be too much different from what you're seeing here. So in this case here, we're trying to understand what opportunity cost is. So opportunity cost is basically defined as the highest valued alternative foregone. Or put in a less fancy way, basically saying, what could you have done instead? So in this case, with that understanding of the definition, then if you're a coach and you could earn $15 an hour, and then you decide to skip the practice where you could have earned $15 an hour, and you instead go to the carnival and you have to pay $9 to get into the carnival, what is the total cost of skipping practice and going to the carnival? So what this question is trying to take into effect here is that there's this like classic line that economists say to each other all the time, more so than we should, but we don't have very good jokes. And that would be is that if an economist buys another economist lunch, they say to each other, there's no such thing as a free lunch. And the reason why is because even if you're provided a free lunch, you still have to suffer through listening to the other economist. In this case, I have to pay to get into the carnival the $9, but also my paycheck is going to be $15 less. Hence, as you look at the explanation here, 15 plus 9, so the total cost of doing this would be $24. Okay. Let's look at number 2. Ooh, a map. Okay. Juanita is deciding whether to buy a suit that she wants as well as where to buy it. 3 stores carry the same suit, but it's more convenient for her to get to some stores rather than others. Okay, so she would have to pay a marked up price going to certain stores over others. She makes 30 bucks an hour. Okay. So we need to I don't remember completing this, but let's just talk about what they're doing here. So to solve this, again, we have to take into account the fact that the total cost is going to be, as you see here, we're going to be, again, unfortunately, I can't write on this. What it's asking that I do here is that to calculate the total cost, I'm going to have to um, add the price of the suit plus the opportunity cost of my time. She makes 30 bucks an hour at work. So the 15 minutes it takes to go to the local store would be 1/4 of that $30, meaning $7.50, I think, if my quick math skills are not flawed. 30 minutes would be $15, 60 minutes would be $30. So that's not gonna let me fill in anything. Okay, so we have to then take the um, local department store, where it takes 15 minutes to go there, and minute returning to work. Okay, so we need to, there's 15 minutes to get to the store each way. So that would be 15 minutes, that'd be $7.50 of lost equivalent income to get there and to get back. So it'd be $7.50 plus $7.50. So that gives me $15 plus she's going to spend $15 at the store in opportunity cost because she's going to spend 15 minutes there. So let's start to write this out here. So local store is 15 minutes away. Makes $30 an hour. So that would mean $7.50 equivalent, because 15 over 60 equals 1/4 times 30 equals 7.5. So 15 minutes over 60 minutes is 1/4 of an hour, and she earns $30 an hour. So that'd be $7.50 each way, because we're going to say it's a round trip. So we've got 15 bucks in opportunity cost for travel, plus $15 in shopping time, because we were told that that is 30 minutes. So we add that up, and that's 30. Plus, so this 30 here would be my opportunity cost of time. Plus, we're going to add the price in of the dress at the local department store. That's the 114. So that's going to, in this case, give me 144. So that 144, that's going to be my total cost. So now I would repeat this process. Crosstown takes 30 minutes. Okay. We'll just do the next one. So round trip would be 60 minutes. So that would be $30 in travel time plus $15 in shopping time. That's the same because that's the 30 minutes of shopping. So 30 minutes. So 1/2 times 1/2 times 30 would be 15. So we've got $45 in opportunity cost. That $45 in the opportunity cost. We're going to add to that the $86 cost of the dress. And we're going to get $131 for the total cost. And then let's just do the next one. The neighboring city. So the neighboring city is farther away. And it takes 60 minutes to get there each way. That'd be 2 hours round trip. So it'd be $60 in travel time plus the $15 in shopping time, which is always present. Now I've got $75 total in opportunity cost. And we're going to take that $75 in opportunity cost and add to it the $60 dress to get a total cost of $135. So if we compare that 135, 131, 144, sounds like she should go across town, essentially, because that would be the lowest total cost. Because I'm just comparing here 131, 144, and 135. Did I do all these? I'm not sure why it's. Sorry, I wasn't intending that it would keep showing me what I all got wrong, but I didn't actually do it. So I guess not doing it is also getting it wrong. Okay. So equality and efficiency. So if things are uniform across society, that's definitional, and that would be the definition of what it means to have equality. And then if you're trying to get the most you can from your resources, in some sense, that is the definition of efficiency. So these are definitional, these first two. All societies face a trade-off between equality and efficiency. So in this case, if the United States government lowers the income taxes while decreasing welfare payments, then the result will be blank in efficiency and blank in equality. So in this case here, we would expect that if people don't have to pay as much in taxes, then they're going to work harder. So that's going to give you basically higher efficiency. And if we're not going to give money to the poorest in society, that's going to represent less equality. So it should be increase in efficiency, lowering of inequality. Hopefully this is a rather easy question because it should have been largely definitional. Okay. Again, and when I do these quickly, I'm not trying to show off how fast I can do an assignment. Again, I'm really hoping that it's going to help you understand things before you get to the point of taking the exam. Jake, the hardworking sophomore. One Saturday, he decides to work nonstop until he's done 100 practice problems for his math course. Starts at 8 a.m., like a dork, uses a table to keep track of his progress. He notices as he gets tired, it takes longer to solve each problem. Yeah, okay. Okay. So let's. Sorry, I'm noticing here that the chart. Okay. So to solve this, we're saying that in this hour, there was a positive increase of 40 questions. In this hour, there was an increase of 30 problems, meaning 70 minus 40. In this hour, there was an increase of 20. And in this hour, there was an increase of 10. This is our definition of the marginal. How much additional work was I able to do in that period of time? So, with that said, what was my marginal gain from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m.? That would be 40 problems, right? In that first hour of work, I did accomplish 40. From 10 to 11 a.m., that'd be when I went from 70 to 90, so that would be 20 problems. So hopefully we're seeing 40 and 20. Later, the teaching assistant gives advice. Based on past experience, working 15 problems raises a student exam by the same amount as reading a textbook for 1 hour. So now he can has a choice between reading and doing practice questions. In order to use his 4 hours of study time to get the best exam score possible, how many hours should he have spent working on problems and how many hours spent on reading? So for this one, what we need to do is we need to say, you obviously the goal here is you want to have your exam grade be the highest. Then 15 problems is the same as 1 hour. So that's the trade-off. 15 problems, 1 hour. So for 15 problems, 1 hour. Okay. So here's the way to solve this part. Basically ask yourself at each hour, what should I do? Should I do problems from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m.? Yes, because I'd get 40, I could do 40 problems, whereas I'd only have the equivalent of 15 problems by doing an hour of reading in terms of my score. So from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., I'm not sure what to call this here. I should do problems. So from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., I could do 30 problems, or if I read, that'd still be the equivalent of 15 problems. I should do problems. From 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., 20 problems. 1 hour reading, 15 problems. Problems again. From 11 to 12, I go from 90 to 100. That's a difference of 10, but an hour of reading would be 15 problems. I should read, and I should read because 15 problems is greater than 10. So that would be 3 hours of problems, 1 hour of reading. And now I hope to dear God that that is the answer. Oh, thank God. Okay, so there's the explanation of that. Okay. Okay, now we are looking at incentives. So, large number of auto accidents in small towns. They want the cars to have anti-lock brakes. It's going to cut the time it takes your car to stop by 50%. So what are we saying here? We're saying that it's going to, well, in some sense, it's going to reduce the probability. So that's the first part. The new brakes reduce the probability that cars are going to collide. And it's going to give incentives an incentive to drive more what? Well, certainly more quickly, or more dangerously. The reason why they could drive more dangerously or faster, I'm not sure what the choices that it's going to present to us. So, let's see, does it tell me? I can't see what it was. Well, it's got to be some, I don't know what the choices are here, but it's got to be some synonym to like dangerous or careless or faster. It's got to be something bad. And the reason why is because if you have a safer car, meaning one that stops faster, you're going to think you can drive more quickly or dangerously or carelessly. And so what that would do is that would offset it. That would, in that case, it would potentially increase the number of car accidents in town. So here in this question, we're just talking about the incentive structure, and just making people have a safer car doesn't necessarily do what you want it to do, meaning it could make it so that the roads are actually more dangerous by making everyone have something safer. Okay, so now staying here with this notion of opportunity costs and the marginal analysis, then Anna is training for a triathlon. That's a timed race with swimming, biking, and running. Consider the following sentences. Because her pool sessions are helping her swim more quickly, Anna plans to reduce 1 hour per week the time she spends training on the bike and increase by 1 hour the time she spends in this pool. However, her husband says that she should stop doing any biking and running and spend all 20 hours a week in the pool. Are you kidding me? Oh, God, I hate this when an author does this. So you're reading this all and you're like, okay, you're in my head, I'm already kind of like thinking of the numbers and the calculations I need to make. And it turns out you don't need any of that. So it kind of sucks because you don't need to do any calculations. They're actually just asking, what does this, what is this go to? Like, what is this? What's the concept that this is linked to? So in this case here, just like when we solved the doing math problems or reading, um, we have to think of things on the margin. So that is why this answer is what it is. Um, right? If she spends an hour less training on the bike, then she can spend an hour more in the pool. But the question would be is like how much more quickly can she complete the race if she spends 1 extra hour of swimming versus biking 1 less hour? So she would need to compare the marginal benefits with each of these. We know what the marginal cost is, 1 hour, but we don't know what the benefits are, which is why we're not being forced to do any math. Um, as for what is going on with these others, choices, resources are scarce. Well, that is true, but that doesn't help us think through this problem. All costs are opportunity costs. That is not true. We know, for instance, like with that one dress problem, we know that there's a direct cost to the dress and the opportunity cost. Or in this case, she might have to buy a pool or at least buy time at a pool, buy a bike, etc., etc. People usually exploit opportunities to make themselves better off. You should have just crossed off that choice. That's not even making sense, at least from an economics perspective. Okay, now individual choices. People in Iowa eat both corn and potatoes. That is absolutely true. It is technically possible for farmers to grow both corn and potatoes in Iowa, yet almost no farmers grow potatoes. That is also true. Instead, every year, Iowa exports corn and imports potatoes from the US state of Idaho, where farmers specialize in potatoes. Which um, economic concept basically best describes this scenario? I would agree with the statement here that trade does make everyone else better off. Let's talk about why it's not the other choices. Second option, when markets do not achieve efficiency, government intervention can improve overall welfare. This is not generally true. Government intervention is almost always done to actually improve welfare, not reduce it. But it does it not by increasing efficiency. Government intervention almost always reduces efficiency. The only time where it doesn't work that way is if there are some externalities. And we haven't even talked about that concept yet. For all intents and purposes, any government intervention, at least at this point, reduces your efficiency. There's a trade off between equality and efficiency. That is true, but it has nothing to do with corn and potatoes. All costs are opportunity costs. That is also not true. So trade makes everyone better off. That is absolutely a true statement, but also applies to this question here. Okay, number 8. Bakers are much blank likely to supply pastries to the market if property rights are enforced. So the enforcement of property rights means that you basically can collect the benefits to something good when something good happens, or that you bear the costs when something bad happens. So in this case here, um, are they more likely or less likely? In this case, it's almost always the case that they would be more likely to supply the goods if forced to. There's only one car dealership in a small town, giving the dealership the ability to influence the price of cars. Well, this deals with the fact that there's a monopoly here, or in this case, that there's a lot of market power. So it does not deal with externality. That would be, again, where you've got the external costs or benefits. Manufacturing plant dumps chemical waste into the river, poisoning the water supply. That is the definition of an externality. Fortunately, in this case here, this is a very good description, definition of both of these concepts. Okay. Which of the following factors played the biggest role in the slow growth of average incomes from the 70s to 80s? This is just from the reading of the book, and this was the slower growth in productivity. There's really not a lot I can really explain about this. This actually just comes from the book. That's kind of boring as an answer. Okay, and then inflation and unemployment. Suppose that in an attempt to combat severe inflation, the government decides to decrease the amount of money in circulation. This monetary policy blanks the economy's demand for goods and services, leading to blank product prices. Okay, so I can't see what the choices are again. Okay, so this would be, so if I'm reducing the amount of money in circulation, this would mean that we all have less money to spend on things. So this would decrease the economy's demand for goods and services because I have less money. And so then if less people are buying stuff, then that would mean that the prices are not going to rise as fast. And the prices are not rising as fast because not that many people are buying this stuff. In the short run, the change in prices induces firms to, in this case, at least in the short run, they would produce less goods and services because they're not going to get as much money. But as they produce less stuff, then they don't need as many workers. So that would mean that unemployment is going to go up. Which then, that logic leads us to the trade-off. The trade-off being that inflation and unemployment, that there is a trade-off. Lower inflation leads to higher unemployment. Okay, that's all 10 questions. So I hope those explanations help a little bit understand homework assignment number 1.